Modelled after the British House of Lords, the Senate is the upper house in Canada's Parliament. And it's here, in Centre Block's Senate chamber, where senators have met and debated national issues for nearly a century. The Senate has a crucial role in the lawmaking process. It reviews, debates, and revises legislation introduced by both chambers.
If we don't stand up for them, then who the heck is going to?
Senators scrutinize bills passed in the House of Commons.
We have, through our amendments, perfected the bill.
They can also propose their own.
Honourable Senators, I am pleased to speak today to Bill S-233, an act to amend the Customs Act and the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act.
A bill must pass both houses, here in the Senate and the House of Commons, before it can become law.
Ordered that a message be sent to the House of Commons to acquaint that House that the Senate has passed this bill.
Senators are appointed by the Governor-General on the advice of the Prime Minister. They can serve until the mandatory retirement age of 75. From the carpet to the leather of the senators' desks to the thrones, nearly everything in this chamber is decorated in red. It's hardly surprising it's commonly known as the Red Chamber, as opposed to the green of the House of Commons. The gold ceiling, the bronze chandeliers, intricate oak paneling, and stunning red thrones all combine to create a regal space. One fit for ceremonial affairs, and one fit for royalty. After all, this is the chamber where the reigning monarch would visit when attending Parliament.
The North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Canada's capital is the scene of an event unique in the annals of the British Commonwealth of Nations, when on the very day of their arrival, the King and Queen drive to the Parliament buildings where His Majesty is to give royal assent to legislation enacted by the Dominion Parliament. Today, Ottawa is the capital of the Empire. For not since 1854 has royal assent been given by a British sovereign in person, and never before has this ceremony taken place outside the mother country. In the Senate chamber, the King of Canada, in the presence of the representatives of every part of his dominion, sanctions the measures placed before him.
Parliamentary tradition dictates that it is only in the Senate chamber where all three elements of Parliament can assemble: the Sovereign, the Senate, and the House. Whether it's an opening of Parliament, a speech from the throne, or a royal assent ceremony to make bills into law, events that are full of pomp, pageantry, and ancient traditions. Now the Red Chamber has been stripped to its bones, most of its heritage assets removed. Like the House of Commons chamber, it's barely recognizable now. It's filled with floor-to-ceiling scaffolding. Louise Cowley is director for the long-term vision plan for the Senate of Canada.
So when you go in now, everything's peeled back. It doesn't look the same at all, which is actually, I think, an exciting time to see it, because you really get to see the bones of the building, and then you'll get to see it rebuilt again. And so to really realize the extent of the renovation, I think now is an exciting time to be inside the Centre Block. And then it'll all be pieced back together.
The Centre Block project is the pinnacle of a larger, decades-long endeavour to restore and modernize the parliamentary precinct. Like members of Parliament, senators have been involved in the decision-making process.
In 2016, a subcommittee on the long-term vision and plan was created, and it consists of senators, and then they actually work with us to inform the design. But we also work closely with our partners, so House of Commons, Library of Parliament, ensure all the needs are met. So we have to balance the needs of a modern Parliament. That's first and foremost. It is a place of business, but we also know it is a place for Canadians. So on our team, we're looking at what do we need, how can we do it, what are our options, and then we talk to our users and see like what's manageable, what can we do, and we work with Public Works to come up with those decisions.
One of those decisions is to make sure the Senate chamber is returned to its former glory.
In the Senate chamber, it'll look very similar in the end state, so we're going to restore a lot of the heritage features, but all the modern infrastructure will be hidden and will include lighting and broadcasting. So before there was no permanent infrastructure to broadcast in the Senate chamber, but that will be provided in the end state. And in terms of the seating arrangement will look much the same. So unlike the House of Commons, where there's constantly a changing number of parliamentarians, the Senate remains fixed. So we're going to restore the existing desks and we're going to bring them back in, and so the seating arrangement will look the same. The other thing that will come back again is the galleries. So that's the place for Canadians to really see democracy in action in the Senate chamber, but they're going to be fully rehabilitated and they're going to be fully accessible.
A new addition to the chamber will be a viewing platform.
So we're actually standing in the south gallery of the Senate chamber. We're at the 4th level right now, and the level I'm standing on is actually going to be something new we didn't have before. We're going to be enclosing this in glass, and it's going to be a viewing platform where you can look down onto what's happening in the chamber. Below us will be the galleries.
Centre Block was built with 3 large courtyards. For decades, they have been unused. The plan is to now enclose these spaces, providing much-needed room.
So here we are on the roof. Over there is the West Light Court and the Hall of Honor, which will have the Hall of Honor infill. And here is the East Light Court. Come over and I'll show you what it's going to look like. So the East Courtyard is currently an exterior space, but in the end state it will be covered in glass. So the intent of light coming into the building will still remain, and it'll be open all the way down to level 2 and level 3. So you'll enter the courtyard through elevators on level 2, and then you can make your way up to level 3 to then enter into the galleries.